The Tories' pathetic response to the cost of living crisis will leave millions facing poverty. And now, Tory attempts to defend it have made the party a running joke. This was Energy Minister Greg Hands explaining the government's approach to soaring energy bills.
Can I just come back to the point about bills, though? Because that's the other really important part of what we're dealing with tonight. And the Chancellor of the Exchequer launched a really important package in February, just 2 months ago, to deal with the rise in bills. Cannot deal with it completely, but actually £9 billion set aside, a £200 discount on energy bills, a £150 discount on council tax, additional funds to make sure the most vulnerable are able to give them assistance in paying their energy bills.
£200 is, of course, a loan.
It's not a loan. It is a discount,
but
which will then be taken back in the form of a levy.
You're not being given it, you have to pay it back.
No, not necessarily the individual. It gets taken back at the point at which it is levied. Yeah,
sorry, you're all shouting something. What are you all shouting? I'm saying it's a loan.
It's not a loan.
It's a loan. That's what you're hearing from the
audience. No, it's taken back through a levy. It's not a loan because it doesn't create an obligation on the individual to repay. It is actually a levy on the price point at which the bill...
But they still have to pay it back. What's the difference?
It's put on the price point, not on the individual. The individual does not have an obligation to repay.
Oh, so we can say we don't want to. If we don't want to pay it back, we don't have to.
No, I'm not saying that. It's taken back. It's taken back at the point at which it is charged. Yeah?
So if you don't heat yourself, if you don't have any heating afterwards, then you don't pay it back.
It is not an obligation.
That it?
Importantly,
that is it, isn't it? That's what you're saying. Okay.
It comes in this October. And these are the important things that we've announced to help people with bills. But that's different to the long-term strategy that we've launched today with renewables, nuclear, and making sure we're not increasing our imports of oil and gas.
My favourite part of that was actually seeing the Archbishop of Canterbury sort of like really openly chortle at how stupid the Tory minister sounded. To be clear on what the policy is, every household will get £200 off their energy bill this year, but will pay that back over the next 5 years via a levy added to future energy bills, so around £40 a year for 5 years. As to the politician's claims you heard there, Greg Hands was right. The policy doesn't mean any of us will formally be in debt to the energy companies, but Emily Thornberry was also right. Unless you stop using gas and electricity altogether by, I don't know, dying, you're going to have to pay that £200 back. Barnaby, the Tories are now a laughing stock. Is it deserved?
Well, yes, of course it is, but there are bigger issues at stake than just their idiocy. I mean, we're entering a period like the mid-1970s, entangled geopolitical and energy crises, pushing an inflationary spiral, but with a key difference that crisis of the 1970s came after 30 years of narrowing income and wealth inequality, with a powerful and a fighting labour movement. So this one comes after 50 years of ballooning gulfs between most people and the super rich, with trade unions strangled and gutted by law to keep most people unrepresented. And it's in that context of a crisis, a capitalist crisis of the kind that we faced before, but after 50 years of neoliberalism, that we get this particularly noxious situation. A chancellor sitting on £12 million from Russia who declares that some people in this country must shiver now to punish Russia for war in Ukraine. A chancellor whose family fortune avoids tax, telling millions of people watching their taxes rise that he'll bung them a bit of cash and then demand it back. Like any good capitalist, he wants to put us in debt and then profit from it. In France, price rises in energy have been capped at 4%, even by a right-wing government. The energy company's been asked to take an €8 billion hit by a president who admires Thatcher, because their energy company EDF is publicly owned, and because working class people fight and strike and occupy when the state tries to do capital's bidding and assault their living standards. So that's the particularly awful situation we're in, a gutted network of resistance and a strong and confident capitalist class, ensuring that this crisis is an opportunity for the form of class war that we see in fire and rehire, in hiring agency workers, in cutting pay while bills rise, and some people make huge profits and then hide them from the taxman.